For me, I was probably in 4th grade, and I had a friend who started in my school that year named Kevin, and he had a guitar, and I thought that was awesome. And Back to the Future was out, and all I wanted to do was play guitar. He was listening to stuff like Led Zeppelin and AC/DC and Metallica and Iron Maiden. So I started hanging out with him all the time, and my parents were bummed because they were like, "Oh, you're listening to like this?" And all the metal stuff with Maiden with harmonized leads and Metallica just like blazing fast and Megadeth. I was like, I want to do this. And I couldn't play all that stuff, so I had to figure out what to start to play first. And I went to the Sex Pistols because I could play that whole album in like 2 weeks. We were actually talking about this morning, and I was playing it, and it was like, you're playing it way better than Steve Jones was playing that. Like,
well, he started playing something, and there was definitely a proper E major. You played an E major. I was like, there's no way the fifth is in it. There's no way that's how it's. Yeah, and you were doing like, I was like, there's
so it's probably more like.
First of all, yeah, chop your pinky off right off the bat.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, all downstrokes. You're doing upstrokes.
Finessing it too much?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
There you go. And those horse trots you're doing, not a chance. Those aren't in there either.
And I don't know that I love the Sex Pistols as much as I could play it.
I think the first song I ever learned at like maybe my first guitar lesson was, I mean, probably, that was probably the first thing, and that would have been one of the first things I ever learned. Also couldn't play any Metallica when I was like 9, 10 years old, except I could play.
I was gonna say, I got that much into one, and then when it got to the like a, I was like, nope.
Linoleum, no effects.
Oh, yeah?
Linoleum. When I was able to play that speed. Able to like cleanly play that, I was like,
yes.
Okay, yeah.
I think Number of the Beast was the first one that had kind of like was one of the things where I was like, I am playing an Iron Maiden song. Like, it's like all the solos, definitely not. But like at the time, I was like, I can still play like the intro and then coming into.
My first band was the Flamin' Moes, and we would have covered like Basket Case and things like that. That would have been in our wheelhouse.
Trying to think, we might in that same high school thing, we might have done stuff like. Not the entirety of Metallica's Battery, but like the intro parts where we were doing kind of like, that's awesome. And then again, it would get to the solo parts and it would just completely devolve. Being a lead guitar player, I went into the, I guess, kind of a typical direction for a lot of people who want to play super noodly. And I was listening to a lot of like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and Eric Johnson. And kind of from there found backwards into people like Frank Zappa. And in If You're Bored, on the first record, there is a solo. And then that's a hack through it, but like the part in is it in Andy, not in Acre Rhoads? It's like. You know what I'm really telling you is something you can understand. You know what I'm really telling you. So it's kind of like actually that's probably a little bit more than influenced by. There's a little bit. There's probably a few too many notes in that to be influenced by, but.
I mean, Randy Rhoads is certainly one of my favorites. Eddie Van Halen is probably one of my favorites. I like the guys who are technical, but also like make the guitar sing. You know, the really like they could write these really catchy, memorable riffs and solos and stuff. Slash too. You know, guys that can like really speak with the guitar and not just kind of play as fast as possible.
Yeah, Randy Rhoads did a really good job of taking basically classical guitar and sticking it into a metal band, but like in a way where it was like really like that's like the intro of Diary of a Madman is like. Like stuff like that's
Yeah,
pretty.
but then he also wrote.
Yeah, Crazy Train's like one of the most
He was
memorable
like one of the most iconic riffs ever written, you know.
Oh,
so
straight
like
up.
he all the technical stuff, but also like the really memorable, like,
heck yeah.
iconic riffs.
We were watching some of the early Van Halen stuff too, and all of those, like just all of the songs with a band that has one guitar player. It's really difficult to be flashy and still have a song. Like I feel like it's like to be able to play rhythm parts, like and stuff like. I guess Dance the Night Away is not like as much of.
Oh, Spoon Man. Spoon Man is definitely one that I think about. I think about a lot. That's a awesome riff.
And in 2004, when we went in to do Self-Titled, that was like when we started to introduce stuff. I think you can hear elements like the pre-solo section in Montauk is one of those things where it's got kind of like you're playing the repeating descending part, and then I'm playing kind of a linear line on top
That's true.
of it.
That like kind of pre-solo section of Montauk is a
That was one of the, I think,
big moment in Bayside history.
That kind of introduction of like the two harmonized guitars playing off each other, for me anyway, was like a huge representation of like that was like the culmination of all of what I've been working towards.
It was so early in our career, and it was like something that we finally found, and we were like, okay, we're gonna do that for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3. Oh, They're Already Gone is a pretty monster riff. Yeah, that's a good riff. That's from Killing Time.
That is. I really love that bridge riff in Bury Me. I think the breakdown riff. In
Yeah,
Bury
there's a couple. The Bury Me bridge is 2 riffs really. It's like the. And then it goes into the.
I don't think I played that on time.
Interrobang is a really good riff.
Oh, yeah.
Like Interrobang for the bridge, we were like, let's do a like early Metallica thing where it's this heavy song and it breaks down to like a classical clean guitar playing this pretty thing, and then you do like a metal solo over this classical clean guitar. Like that's a Metallica formula. So we talked about it that much, and they were like, well, we cannot listen to it now because then it will sound like that. So we have to take that like theory, and that wound up being.
That song, Prayers, its working title was System Sabbath because we wanted something that it had a riff, like the opening part. There are parts of it that felt really sludgy and kind of like Black Sabbath-y when we were demoing it, and then it had a lot of like. Yeah,
I mean that's pretty System of a Down. we thought at the time. I think we're lucky to have a very wide range of influences, like from metal to like Spanish music to show tunes to anything, so that all these influences like mashed together, like you said, like they just sound, it winds up sounding like Bayside.